I made a promise during Season 1 that if Malfax survived the perilous dangers of Zangari Island, that I, Mr. Solo, would lift the veil of anonymity, thus revealing my true identity, like some second-rate Scooby-Doo villain. And with the conclusion of Season 1, and with Malfax still very much alive, I, Mr. Solo, intend to keep that promise in this week's episode.
You're not gonna be naked, are ya?
I will not be naked!
Okay.
Welcome back to EpicSolo. I am Mr. Solo, although my friends simply know me as Jesse Lee. And although I am no longer a stranger, I assure you, I'm still quite strange. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy fantasy RPGs and/or playing them solo, please consider subscribing. If you got a couple extra thumbs up, we'll take those too. Hit that like button because it goes a long way in promoting our channel, and we want to share just how much fun tabletop role-playing games can be. In Season 1, I had the pleasure of being the game master and the player and the narrator and the voice of several characters that before our adventure began a few months ago, I had absolutely no idea even existed. Thanks to the Mythic GM emulator, a little bit of imagination, and you, the viewer, for inspiring me to keep showing up each week, we made those characters come alive while building a foundation for the epic fantasy setting that I had always dreamed of creating. In Season 2, we're going to continue to build that setting while letting the dice take us on strange and fantastic new adventures, but we're going to do it with a brand new game system. That's right. I had a lot of fun using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for Season 1. It's a great game. It's one of my favorite editions of Dungeons & Dragons, but it's not the only edition. A few weeks ago, I asked our viewers what rule system they would like to see featured on EpicSolo for Season 2. Let's take a look at the results before I announce what game system we will be featuring for Season 2 of EpicSolo.
Yes, let's take a look at the poll, shall we? Apparently this is how I talk when I review polls on YouTube.
And I am absolutely blown away by the results. Remember, this channel started off as a Dungeons and Dragons channel. Can you believe it? Only 4% of you voted for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Wow. Hey, Wizards, pay attention to what's going on here. I wonder if it has anything to do with the OGL. Maybe 54% of you voted for Pathfinder 2nd edition, which is awesome. I'm a big Pathfinder fan. I love 1st edition, and I have not played 2nd edition. 7% of you, you know who you are. I love you for voting for my favorite edition of Dungeons & Dragons, 2nd edition. 7%, awesome. OSR, 32% in 2nd place. Now, I put Old School Essentials up there just as an example of an OSR rule set that I would be interested in exploring. And then we got 4% for other. Now, there's so many amazing RPGs. We can't do them all, but I'm interested, so keep putting out suggestions. And so, if you've watched the channel, you probably heard me say "and so" like a million times. And I blame this guy, Alan Watts. I blame Alan Watts for me saying "and so." The game system that we will be featuring for Season 2 of EpicSolo is... Sorry, I've got to cut this part in because I got so excited when I announced it, I yelled into the microphone. And so here we go. I'm probably going to yell again because I'm super excited about this. Ready? The game system that we will be featuring for Season 2 of EpicSolo is Old School Essentials. Yeah, baby. We're going old school. Now, before you hit the unsubscribe button, you're going to want to stick around because Old School Essentials isn't the only game system we're going to be featuring in Season 2. So let's talk about Old School Essentials and why I chose it for Season 2. What exactly is Old School Essentials? Well, Old School Essentials, released by Necrotic Gnome and authored by Gavin Norman, is a role-playing game of fantastic adventure, danger, monsters, and magic. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Old School Essentials is a retro clone of the original Basic and Expert Dungeons & Dragons rules by Tom Moldvay, published in 1981 by TSR. That is right. Old school original Dungeons & Dragons with a bit of advanced, splashed in per your taste. And so whether you played old school D&D and are looking for some nostalgia, or you're simply interested in the roots of the game that we all know and love, or whether you are looking to roll up your sleeves and do a deep dungeon dive right along with me, which I hope you will, you are going to get that experience in EpicSolo Season 2. And don't tell me Don't tell me. If you love D&D, you've always wondered, what would it be like to go back and play the game as we used to play it in the 80s and the 90s and even back to the 70s. It's not the same game that Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson designed, but it's a lot closer than what you're seeing now. So you're going to get that experience in Season 2 of EpicSolo. Besides nostalgia and getting back to some advanced basics, there are several other compelling reasons why I chose Old School Essentials for EpicSolo Season 2. Old School D&D, or Old School Renaissance, or OSR as it's commonly referred to, is as much a philosophy of gameplay style and a vibe as it is any particular rule set. You can play Old School D&D with 5th edition if you really want, and I'd like to think I brought some of those elements to the table on EpicSolo in Season 1, and whether you agree or not, like Alistar, I don't really care, because I was there, and I've got the cassette tapes and the breakdancing moves to prove it. We're not going to do it on this episode. Or are we? You have to stick around and find out. There are a myriad number of videos on YouTube that explain what OSR and Old School Essentials are all about. I'll put a few links in the description. If you're interested in learning more, I highly recommend checking them out. Now, with the evolution of our channel, focusing more on story and narrative and player agency, less on combat, stat sheets, and crunching numbers, the shift back to a more organic, old school approach of what can my player character do versus what can't they do, or that's prohibited by the rules, seemed a natural fit. I feel like I should explain this better. Rules are important. I'm a fan of the rules. Rules as written. I love to put my face deep in a tome and go, that's not legal. You can't do that. But that's also something that, as a gameplay style, is something that's developed over the past couple of decades. And so let me give an example of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about throwing all the rules away and, just the opposite, in fact. Using context and logic, much like we do with the GM emulator, to make rulings and not rules. Here's an example of that. So one example of the old school philosophy is the concept of just that, rulings, not rules. And so in essence, your character should not be limited to their character sheet. Your player character is an extension of your boundless and limitless imagination. And so if Malfac finds himself alone in a trap-infested dungeon attempting to unlock a door, we're going to allow him the opportunities to search for traps. He might not be good at it, but we're going to let him do it. We're not going to say, no, you don't have that. You don't have that skill or that trait. You can't. Are you a rogue? No, you can't do that. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to make a ruling based on what seems plausible, as opposed to a rule set based limitations like class abilities, skills, feats, or any hard and fast rules that explicitly deny our imagination and our player character the opportunity to create an exciting moment in our adventure. We're going to do a deep dive into the referee's tome, the old school essentials equivalent of a dungeon master's guide. And we're going to build some epic dungeons and roll some random encounters. We're going to explore perilous and strange new lands. And we're going to keep track of time and travel and resources. And we're going to hire mercenaries and hirelings. And we're going to build strongholds. And we're going to try to stay alive, because with old school D&D, it's as much or more about survival as it is about being an epic high fantasy superhero. But it's still about being awesome at later levels. So a lot of your power in old school D&D comes with grinding it out and surviving until you get more power. I'm actually amazed in 5th edition, for example, at how powerful the player character feels first, second, and third level. I remember distinctly how exciting it was back in the day. Back in the day when I used to play the Dungeons and the Dragons, the old school. Anyways, what was I talking about? I completely forgot what I was talking about. Hold on. It's going to come back to me. I was pumped. Oh, yes. I was pumped about the grind, about what it meant to be this first level adventure. You're pretty squishy at low level. Be careful. Play smart. Don't rush in and, get stabbed by a goblin on your first day. And that was fun. Roll a new character. Unless you like that sort of thing, which I kind of do. If you've watched any other episodes of EpicSolo, you're probably well aware by now that I'm a huge fan of the original Baldur's Gate. So the system that was adapted for the original Baldur's Gate was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition. And so AD&D 2nd Edition is my all-time favorite edition of D&D. And AD&D 2nd Edition has a lot in common with Old School Essentials. They're essentially compatible. For those who voted for second edition, you're getting a very close second edition. If that makes sense. My first experience playing Dungeons & Dragons was in the 80s with the now infamous Basic and Expert D&D rules by Tom Moldvay. So for me, this is very much a journey back to the place where it all began. And I could not be more excited to take you all along for the ride this season. So these are just a few of the many reasons why I am so excited to feature Old School Essentials for Season 2. And it was only after a lot of research, the poll that you voted in, and some soul searching, because I do take this stuff very serious, that I arrived at this decision. The last reason, and this might be a trigger warning for some, so if you need to turn off the video, it's coming. We're going to talk about it real briefly, but it has to do with some of the recent decisions and actions by Wizards of the Coast. So Wizards of the Coast, for those who don't know, is the developer, the publisher of the current edition of Dungeons & Dragons. They bought Dungeons & Dragons, the rights to it, from TSR back in 1997. There are a bazillion videos out there that break down what's happening with Wizards and the OGL, the open game license. If you've been following along, I'm not going to waste your time with that. But for those who might not be aware, suffice it to say that in choosing Old School Essentials and in moving away from D&D 5th edition, I am making an informed and conscious choice as a gamer, a content creator, and a consumer to support an independent game developer, a company, nevertheless, okay, whose passion for their game and their community shows in their product, in their actions, and in their treatment of their player base. That's all I'm going to say. I might do another series called Epic Rants where I really go off, but that's all I'm going to say for right now. Let me give you an example. I had a question for the developers of Old School Essentials, and so I sent them an email. I received a response the very next day. They were polite, they were kind, they were helpful, they had links, things I was looking for, answered all my questions, and you can just tell that they're a pretty cool company. Gavin Norman and Necrotic Gnome put a lot of effort and passion into this game. It's one of the best reference books that I've ever read, and I want to return the favor. I want to put the same passion into my videos playing their game, Old School Essentials, this season. So I'll put a few links in the description of this video. I highly recommend checking out the completely free basic rules available on their website. You can download the basic rules PDF and a character sheet, and you can create a character right along with me on the next episode of EpicSolo. Listen, I love D&D, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to go with Old School Essentials. It is D&D. I still get to enjoy the game that I love. I still enjoy 5th edition. I'm going to be playing it pretty soon. And I think it's a great game. But right now with Old School Essentials, I get the best of both worlds. And I like that. For Season 2, along with the usual gameplay and behind the DM screen videos, we're also going to do some tutorials and how-tos on everything from character creation and advancement to combat and game mastering. And if there's something that you want to see, or if you've got a question, do not be afraid to ask. I am going to be learning and relearning the system as I go. And so we'll make some mistakes and we'll learn together. And that's what this channel is all about. So expect some really cool tutorials on Old School Essentials in Season 2. But Old School Essentials is not the only game system we're going to be featuring on EpicSolo this season. That is right. You voted, you asked for it, and so you're going to get it. EpicSolo is also going to be featuring Pathfinder 2nd Edition this season. That's right. We're going to do a special prequel mini-series that will chronicle the now infamous pirate attack on Malthac's ship that was the catalyst for all that has transpired thus far. And so we're finally going to meet the dreaded Captain Rick, pirate with perhaps the stupidest name in all the island. And Captain Rick and the North Cove Pirates are going to help us learn Pathfinder 2nd Edition sometime in Season 2. Maybe at the end of Season 2. But we're going to do Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It is coming. I want to play the game. I love Pathfinder 1st Edition. My group loves Pathfinder 1st Edition. And so it's time. I'm excited to learn Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Hey, thanks to you for voting and giving me the extra push there, the old nudge that I needed. And so let's get excited for that too. What do you think?
I don't like it. He betrayed us.
Hey, I get it. Those are some pretty significant, but also very exciting changes for our channel. And I can only hope that you will consider sticking around to hang out with me and the sorcerer Malfak, Enid, and Giselle. Yeah, and don't forget William. And even the old jungle tyrant, Alistar. Isn't that creepy? I creep myself out. That's why I do this stuff. I love it. Thanks for indulging me. It's so silly, but it's just such a blast. I'm such an amateur voice actor. I want to be a real voice actor, so we're going to continue to do that on season 2, and we'll just have to wait to see what the dice have in store. We'll see if any of those awesome characters, but you know what? Forget those characters. We need new characters. I can't wait to see what new characters get developed in season 2. Season 2 appears to be inevitably tumbling towards the conflict that is brewing in Malfac's homeland, the island nations of Lucadia. EpicSolo is going to have a lot going on in season 2. I've got a lot planned, but we will also be featuring campaign updates from our multiplayer at the table campaign, The War of the Island Nations, of which our first game session is happening tonight. That's right. The dice are about to hit the table in a few hours, and I cannot wait to share the session reports with you throughout the season.
Here's a little behind the scenes tip.
It's actually Wednesday when I'm filming this. I'm not playing the night, but when you watch this, if you watch it on Friday, we will be playing that night. So I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully nobody dies. So EpicSolo will be taking the week off next week. I know your world's crushed because your world revolves around this silly little YouTube channel. All right, I think you'll be okay. Are you going to be okay? You'll be all right. We're going to take the week off, and when we return, you can expect a whole lot of awesome for season 2, and I could not be any more excited. If you've got any questions or comments or ideas, please, by all means, leave a comment. And if you can spare those extra thumbs up, go ahead and hit that like button. It does go a long way. We're a new channel. Every one of you that's subscribed and tunes in, I really mean it. I appreciate it. I want to say thank you. You're my virtual at the tabletop friends, and what started out as an experiment to share my love of all things D&D and RPGs and playing solo has turned into this multiplayer experience that I could have never imagined. And so I mean it sincerely. Thank you. Bullet Catcher, every time that I drop a video and you take the time to comment, it just puts a smile on my face. And so everybody else, hey, leave a comment. Even if you say,
I didn't like it. I didn't like which direction this is going.
Just drop a comment. It's all good. My feelings won't be hurt, and it's fun. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking,
you're just another bearded D&D hipster. That's all you are.
I don't know. Maybe I am. Who knows? But if you were wondering what strange lands and deranged dungeons this ridiculous content is derived from, you were to guess the Twin Cities, Minnesota, not too far from where it all started with Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson some 50 years ago, then you would be correct. Why, yes. I am from the Twin Cities. It's freaky, isn't it? No, I'm sorry. That gag is something else, man. Every time I make an episode, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, it's happening, isn't it? We're doing the freaky gag. Yeah, I got to keep it going. It's a gag, But hey, we are from the Twin Cities. This is where Prince is from. We are a little freaky here. Ow. Hey, whatever corner of the realms that you happen to be watching from, good luck with all of your adventures in the upcoming weeks, both in character and in real life. Thank you for watching EpicSolo. We're going to have an amazing season 2. We're just getting started. And so I will see you soon.